When you look at a friend, like sitting right across the room from you, you aren't actually seeing them as they are right now. You are seeing them a fraction of a microsecond in the past because, well, light takes time to travel, you know? So to look across any distance of space is to literally look backward in time.
Right. It's this profound biological and physical delay. I mean, even at the speed of light, information just takes time to cross a room or a solar system or a galaxy. When you look up at the moon, you see it as it was about 1.3 seconds ago. You literally never experienced the universe precisely in the present.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And welcome to this custom-tailored deep dive, by the way. We're so thrilled you're joining us today. Our mission for this deep dive is to explore the massive, honestly mind-bending structure of the universe and our tiny but, I think, deeply significant place within this cosmic ocean. We're tracking the journey humanity took from ancient myths to modern science, pulling all of this from Carl Sagan's iconic work, Cosmos.
It's such a foundational piece of work.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I promise you, while the sheer scale of the universe we are about to discuss might feel totally overwhelming, by the end of our conversation, you are going to feel this comforting, almost electric sense of belonging to the stars.
Yeah, but to even begin to understand humanity's place in the universe, we first have to, throw out our everyday human measurements. I mean, miles and kilometers are completely useless once you leave Earth's atmosphere. We have to learn to measure the cosmic ocean using the ultimate speed limit of reality, which is the speed of light.
Right, because the sources emphasize just how astonishingly vast and, well, mostly empty the universe is. I was reading this section and had to stop and reread it. A planet is incredibly rare. If you were just dropped at random into the cosmos, the odds of you finding yourself on or near a planet are 1 in 10 billion trillion. That is 33 zeros.
Exactly. The typical feature of the cosmos isn't matter at all. It isn't stars or planets or galaxies. The standard condition of the universe is just the vast, freezing, pitch-black void between those things. So to navigate that kind of emptiness, we use the speed of light, which travels at roughly 300,000 kilometers per second. Like we said earlier, it takes 8 minutes just for light to reach Earth from our own sun.
So if the sun magically vanished this exact second, we wouldn't even know for 8 minutes. We'd still be bathed in its light and held by its gravity. But this brings me back to that time machine effect of telescopes. It's like the universe has a built-in lag time for a video call.
That's a good way to put it.
Right. The further away the caller is, the older the image you're seeing. Take the star Beta Andromeda. It's 75 light-years away.
Which means the photons of light hitting your eye when you look at Beta Andromeda tonight, they actually began their journey 75 years ago. If that star went supernova and exploded today, an entire human lifetime would pass here on Earth before anyone even noticed.
Wow. And that's just our local neighborhood. The text dives into quasars, these incredibly bright, incredibly distant galactic cores. When astronomers look at them, they are seeing the universe as it was billions of years ago. They aren't just looking through space, they're looking through deep time.
Yeah, we are watching the violent, chaotic dawn of the universe unfold in real time through our telescopes. It forces a complete reframing of our daily reality. I mean, our Milky Way galaxy alone contains 400 billion stars, and there are an estimated 100 billion galaxies in the observable universe.
See, when I try to write a number like 400 billion stars down on a piece of paper, my brain just kind of short circuits.
Yeah.
How does Carl Sagan suggest we process that scale without feeling entirely, I don't know, insignificant?
Well, by recognizing that we are the universe's way of thinking about itself, our planet is just a tiny speck of rock and metal. All of our politics, our daily stresses, our historic wars, they all happen on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. It puts our human dramas into a much wider, quieter context.
Yeah, it really does.
But it also makes the fact that we can comprehend this vastness an absolute miracle in itself.
Which brings up a fascinating point from the text. The universe is incomprehensibly massive, and humans are, let's face it, tiny and short-lived. We didn't always have radio telescopes and orbital observatories. How did we ever figure this out?
We had to undergo a massive cognitive evolution. We had to transition from primitive supernatural explanations to the rigorous application of the scientific method. Ancient explanations for the natural world were, well, they were deeply mystical. People often linked everyday pain or weather events to grand cosmic battles between deities.
Oh, right. The sources mention the Assyrians around 1000 BC and their explanation for a toothache. I actually had to laugh at this.
Oh, yeah, the worm.
Yes. They believed a literal microscopic worm was causing the pain. The incantation says the worm cried to the gods, rejecting figs and apricots, begging instead to be allowed to burrow into the gums and teeth. And the medical treatment for this was a mix of magic spells and fermented barley water.
I mean, they viewed the world as a chaotic place governed by the unpredictable whims of gods. If a storm ruined your crops, someone had angered the sky god. If you got sick, it was a demonic worm. But then came the Ionian awakening about 2,500 years ago in ancient Greece. Thinkers like Thales and Democritus proposed something revolutionary. They suggested the universe actually has an internal, knowable order.
They realized it operates on physical laws, not
Mhm.
just the capriciousness of deities. It was the transition from chaos to cosmos, which literally translates to an orderly, harmonious universe. And the text holds up one person who perfectly embodies this early scientific brilliance. That's Eratosthenes, living in Alexandria during the 3rd century BC.
Oh, Eratosthenes is a masterclass in the scientific method. He was the director of the Great Library of Alexandria. His jealous rivals called him Beta, implying he was always second best.
Haters have been around forever, apparently.
Exactly. But he noticed a very simple, seemingly mundane fact. On the longest day of the year, in a southern frontier town called Syene, sticks cast no shadows at noon. The sun shone straight down a deep well.
But in Alexandria, further north, Styx did cast a shadow on that exact same day, at that exact same time. Now, I have to stop you here because I was reading this part in the notes, and I couldn't wrap my head around the geometry at first. If the sun is millions of miles away, shouldn't its light rays be hitting the Earth at the exact same angle everywhere? Why would a stick in one town cast a shadow, but a stick in another town wouldn't? A shadow just means something is blocking the light.
That is the exact paradox Eratosthenes had to solve. Because the sun is so far away, its rays are traveling parallel to each other when they hit the Earth. If the Earth were flat, all those parallel light rays would hit all the sticks at the exact same angle. Every stick on a flat Earth would cast the exact same shadow, or no shadow at all.
Okay, so if the flat Earth model doesn't work, what did he realize?
He realized the only physical way parallel light rays can strike one stick dead on but strike another stick at an angle is if the ground itself is curved away from the light. He proved the Earth was a sphere just by looking at shadows. But he didn't stop there. By measuring the angle of the shadow in Alexandria, he found it was about 7 degrees, which is roughly 1/50th of a circle.
So he just needed to know the distance between the two cities.
Right, so he hired a man to literally pace out the distance between Alexandria and Syene, which was about 800 kilometers. He multiplied 800 by 50 and got 40,000 kilometers. With just a stick, his eyes, a guy walking, and his brain, Eratosthenes accurately calculated the circumference of the entire planet over 2,000 years ago.
That is just staggering to me. But it also begs a deeply frustrating question. If we had the circumference of the globe figured out in the 3rd century BC, why did we spend centuries afterward thinking the Earth was the flat center of the universe? It feels like we had the instruction manual and then just, threw it away.
Well, we didn't throw it away. It was actively destroyed. The Library of Alexandria was the intellectual heart of the ancient world, holding perhaps 500,000 papyrus scrolls. But it was lost to a mix of religious dogmatism, political violence, and an elitist culture that basically kept knowledge locked away from the common people.
So the knowledge just didn't survive the collapse of the civilization that held it.
Sadly, no. The suppression of that scientific progress plunged the Western world into the Dark Ages. It took centuries until figures like Copernicus, Kepler, and Newton finally clawed that knowledge back and revived the scientific method. Progress is incredibly fragile.
Yeah. But the beautiful thing about those scientific laws that Newton and Eratosthenes uncovered is that they are universal. The same physical mechanics that govern the orbit of the planets and the angle of sunlight also govern the development of life right here on our tiny rock. The sunlight hitting those sticks in Alexandria is the same energy driving the biological engine of Earth.
It is. The text transitions smoothly from the evolution of the cosmos to the evolution of biology. Evolution is often colloquially dismissed as, just a theory, but Carl Sagan makes it explicitly clear evolution is a hard, observable fact driven by natural selection and mutation.
And the sources provide this unbelievable historical example of evolution in action, driven entirely by accident. The story of the Heike crabs in Japan. In 1185, there was a massive naval battle, the Battle of Dan-no-ura, between two rival samurai clans. The Heike clan was completely wiped out. The child emperor Antoku was carried into the sea by his grandmother so they wouldn't be captured, and they drowned.
It's a profoundly tragic event that gave birth to a very powerful local myth. The local fishermen began to believe that the spirits of the defeated Heike samurai were wandering the bottom of the sea. So whenever they caught a crab whose shell happened to have a pattern that vaguely resembled a human face, out of respect and honestly fear, they would toss it back into the water.
Okay, but how does a fisherman's superstition physically change a crab's shell over time?
Well, think about the mechanics of reproduction. The fishermen were eating the normal-looking crabs, but the crabs that had a slight genetic mutation making their shells look slightly bumpy or face-like, they were thrown back. Those crabs lived to reproduce. They passed that bumpy shell gene to their offspring. Over centuries of this practice, the fishermen were unknowingly performing artificial selection.
They played God without realizing it. By systematically saving the crabs that looked like faces, they created an intense environmental pressure until the entire population of crabs looked like angry samurai warriors. It makes you wonder what environmental pressures are secretly designing human evolution right now.
Exactly. It perfectly illustrates the mechanism of selection. But instead of superstitious fishermen, it's usually temperature, predators, or food scarcity driving the selection. And on a microscopic level, this entire process is powered by DNA. We share a fundamental biochemical foundation with all life on Earth.
Right. The sources describe DNA as a microscopic ladder. Can you explain how a chemical ladder actually stores the information to build, say, a samurai crab or a human?
Sure, it's a double helix, a ladder-like molecule that is 1 billion nucleotides long in humans. The sequence of the rungs on that ladder acts as a master blueprint. Just like the sequence of ones and zeros in computer code can render a video game or a text document, the specific sequence of those chemical rungs dictates how to assemble proteins. Those proteins build a human, a crab, or an oak tree. We are all written in the exact same biological alphabet.
We are fundamentally connected to the biosphere. The text points out this beautiful planetary-scale symbiosis we have with plants. We breathe in the oxygen they produce as a waste product, and they consume the carbon dioxide we exhale. It's a global kiss of life, and the entire engine of that relationship is powered by a star 150 million kilometers away.
Yeah, the sun's energy drives the photosynthesis, which drives the atmosphere, which drives our evolution. And naturally, as an evolved, curious species, we look up at that star and want to travel to it. We want to explore the cosmos. But the second we try to conceptualize interstellar travel, we hit a brick wall. We hit the universe's absolute speed limit, which bends the very fabric of reality.
Enter Albert Einstein. We've all heard the name, but the sources break down his thought experiment in a way that finally made it click for me. He was a young man wandering the Italian countryside, imagining what it would be like to ride a motorcycle at speeds approaching the speed of light.
Yeah, the physicist George Gamow proposed a great way to visualize this. Imagine a world where the speed of light wasn't 300,000 kilometers per second, but only 40 kilometers per hour. As you accelerate your motorcycle toward that ultimate speed limit, bizarre things happen. Space itself contracts in front of you into a tiny circular window. And more importantly, time dilates. It slows down for you compared to the people standing still on the side of the road.
Okay, let me stop you there. I get the idea of a speed limit, like a governor on a car engine.
Yeah.
But why does time have to slow down? Why does space contract? That's the part that always breaks my brain.
I get it. Think of the basic equation for speed. Speed equals distance divided by time. In our everyday lives, distance and time are fixed, absolute things, and speed is the variable. You can go faster or slower. But Einstein realized that the speed of light is the absolute constant. It never changes. So if speed is locked and cannot change, the only way the math works as you accelerate is if distance and time become flexible. Space and time literally bend to ensure the speed of light remains constant.
Ah, so you cannot add your speed to the speed of light. If I'm on a train going 100 miles an hour and I throw a baseball 50 miles an hour forward, that baseball is going 150 miles an hour relative to the ground.
Right.
But if I shine a flashlight from that train, the light doesn't travel at the speed of light plus 100 miles an hour. It just travels at the speed of light.
Precisely. Because of this absolute speed limit built into the fabric of nature, we observed something called the Doppler effect in light, which completely revolutionized our understanding of the cosmos.
Let's use a sound analogy for the Doppler effect. Think about an ambulance siren racing past you on the street. When it's driving towards you, the sound waves get squished together in front of the truck, making the frequency higher so the pitch goes up. And as it drives past and away from you, the sound waves stretch out and the pitch drops.
Yep, and light behaves the exact same way. When an object in space is moving towards us at high speeds, its light waves are compressed. In the visible spectrum, shorter wavelengths correspond to blue light, so we call this a blue shift. But when an object is receding, moving away from us, its light waves stretch out. Longer wavelengths correspond to red light, so the light shifts towards the red end of the spectrum.
Which is exactly what astronomers Milton Humason and Edwin Hubble were looking for.
Yeah.
They pointed their telescopes at distant galaxies and realized almost all of them were redshifting.
And the implication of that observation is just staggering. If almost every galaxy is redshifting, it means almost everything in the universe is moving away from us. Furthermore, the further away a galaxy is, the faster it is receding. The universe isn't a static, unchanging box. It is actively expanding. And if you run that cosmic tape backward in your mind, it points directly to a beginning, a big bang, a single moment when all matter and energy were compressed into an infinitely dense point.
But wait, I'm trying to picture this expansion. If everything is stretching out and moving away from us, what are we expanding into? Is there an edge to this cosmic void, like a wall at the end of the universe?
This is perhaps the hardest concept for the human brain to grasp. The universe isn't expanding into an empty room. Space itself is the thing that is expanding. Imagine a flat, two-dimensional world, like a piece of paper, inhabited by flat creatures who only know left, right, forward, and backward. They have no concept of up or down.
Okay, I'm picturing flat little geometric shapes.
Now imagine their world is actually the surface of a deflated balloon. As you blow air into the balloon, it expands. From the perspective of those 2D creatures on the surface, every point is moving away from every other point.
Because the rubber itself is stretching.
Yes. There is no center on the surface of the balloon, and there is no edge you can walk off. If you walk long enough in one direction, you just end up back where you started. Our three-dimensional universe is like that, but curved into higher dimensions we can't visualize. It's a hypersphere. It is finite, meaning it contains a specific amount of matter and space, but it is unbounded. There is no edge.
So there is no outside of the balloon to look into. Looking out into this expanding, unbounded void, we have to ask the ultimate questions Carl Sagan poses. Are we alone? And what does it mean to be human in a universe of this impossible scale?
Well, to answer what it means to be human, we just have to look at our chemistry. The elements that make up our bodies, the water in our blood, the calcium in our bones, the iron carrying oxygen to our brains, those heavy elements were not created in the Big Bang. They were forged inside the fiery, crushing cores of ancient, dying stars that went supernova billions of years ago.
We are literally star stuff.
Yeah.
The cosmos isn't just something we observe through a telescope. The cosmos is within us. We are the universe waking up and trying to figure itself out. But what about others? The Milky Way has hundreds of billions of stars. It seems arrogant to think we are the only star stuff that woke up.
Mathematically, the odds suggest there could be millions of advanced civilizations just in our galaxy. Yet, despite the vast number of potential worlds, we have no credible evidence of extraterrestrial visits. We haven't found the smoking gun of contact.
But we are certainly making ourselves known. Our early radio and TV signals escaped Earth's atmosphere and are currently washing over distant star systems.
Yeah, an expanding sphere of our cultural history is moving outward at the speed of light. That includes 1940s broadcasts of Senator McCarthy, early episodes of I Love Lucy, and Richard Nixon's speeches. Those specific moments are currently passing through planetary systems tens of light years away.
I really hope the aliens judge us on our better moments. But we haven't just leaked accidental radio waves. We've sent intentional messages into the dark. The Voyager spacecrafts are out there right now, carrying a golden record. It features human thoughts, greetings in dozens of languages, heartbeats, and even the brainwaves of a human being in love.
It is a message in a bottle cast into the vast cosmic ocean. And the act of sending that message requires a certain level of societal maturity. When you view Earth from deep space, as the Voyager spacecraft did, you don't see national borders. You don't see empires or political divisions. You see a pale blue dot, a fragile, solitary speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark.
That cosmic perspective teaches us that our survival depends entirely on outgrowing our tribal, ethnic, and national chauvinisms. We have to embrace our shared identity as citizens of Earth. So what does this all mean for you tomorrow morning? When you wake up, remember that you are the universe experiencing itself. It makes that stressful meeting or that argument in traffic seem a lot less important, doesn't it?
If there is one actionable takeaway from this entire deep dive, it is to actively apply this cosmic perspective to your daily life. Treat every single human on this planet as a fellow traveler on a tiny, beautiful lifeboat. When you truly grasp the vastness of the dark void around us, all of our prejudices and petty conflicts seem unimaginably foolish. We are a rare, fragile, and uniquely precious species. We are all we have, and we have to protect each other.
We truly are all we have. But before we let you go, I want to leave you with one final mind-expanding concept from the text to mull over on your own. We talked about the universe expanding from the Big Bang, stretching out the fabric of space.
Yeah.
But what if it doesn't just expand forever into the cold dark?
Right, because the expansion is fighting against the collective gravity of billions of galaxies. What if, eventually, gravity wins?
What if gravity puts on the brakes, stops the expansion, and begins pulling everything back together? A big crunch, pulling every star, every planet, and all of space-time back into a single, infinitely dense point, only to explode again in another Big Bang. Imagine that our entire reality, all of human history, every triumph and tragedy, is just one single fleeting breath in an infinite eternal cycle of a cosmic lung breathing in and out.
And with that breath, the next time you look across a room, remember you were looking at the past, riding a wave of star stuff on a tiny rock in an infinite ocean.
Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us. Keep looking up, and we'll see you out there in the cosmos.